What's going on, everyone? The Lakers roster is ridiculous, right? It is stacked front to back. They got size, they got versatility. You can run all kinds of lineups, different sets, different looks. You could go small ball but still remain big. You can run big lineups with Anthony Davis at the 4. The versatility of this roster is fantastic, and the depth and the talent level on this roster is fantastic. Now, obviously, they got to put all the pieces to the puzzle together, right? Darvin Ham's going to have his hands full trying to figure out how to get minutes for guys and things like that. But if this clicks, you're looking at one of the best teams in the league. You are. Now, many people might feel otherwise. Most of those people are probably hating. I mean, the Lakers were just in the Western Conference Finals and absolutely upgraded the players that they lost with the players that they currently have. But I want to highlight sort of 3 players in particular, the new acquisitions. Now, I definitely want to do it for the 3 guys you see on screen, but these are the easy ones to kind of look out for. These are the guys that are the most expected to have an impact on the Lakers roster. So we'll get to Rui, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell. But to start, I want to talk about 3 of the new acquisitions. And I want to start with Cam Reddish, right? Cam Reddish, more likely than not, will kind of be the odd man out. I think it's up to Cam Reddish and Max Christie. I think those 2 will kind of flip-flop back and forth, and they'll be the ones that are kind of playing for minutes. But if Max Christie can replicate what he did in Summer League, then I think he may end up getting the nod just because he can play the 2's guard, where Cam Reddish is better suited at the 3 or the 4, and we just have an abundance with those, especially if Anthony Davis is indeed going to play the 4 spot a lot more this upcoming season. It's just going to be hard to find minutes for Anthony Davis at the 4, and then Rui, Jared Vanderbilt, Taurean Prince. Yes, you could play at the 2 at times, but you imagine he's going to play the 3 at times. LeBron James, and then now you got to find room for Cam Reddish. But he is a guy I undoubtedly believe can make an impact. 6'8", 218 pounds. He's got like a 7'1" wingspan. This is a guy that just hasn't really gotten a fair opportunity, in my opinion. This is a guy that showed real promise and was a hype prospect. I mean, he was top 10 drafted and went to Atlanta, had some solid moments early on, and then immediately Atlanta goes and they go the vet route because they believe that they are in contention to win an NBA championship because they were just in the Eastern Conference Finals, and that ends up kind of blowing up, and then they end up having to trade Cam Reddish, and the Knicks trade for him. The problem is the Knicks, or Tom Thibodeau, did not want Cam Reddish, and he made that abundantly clear, but the deal was already going through, it was already processed, and so he ends up getting traded, and Tibbs just didn't like the guy. I mean, you're hearing all of the, like, Evan Fournier has just been very critical of Tibbs, and now you could argue it's because, you know, they're not playing and they're kind of in the doghouse, but it's just Tibbs has a history of this. Right? Like, if you rub him the wrong way or something isn't right, like, even if you are better than other guys, he's going to just discipline you, I guess. And so Cam Reddish, I felt like, was always the odd man out with the Knicks. And immediately, the Knicks tried to trade him on several occasions. And the Lakers had him. The deal was done. It was going to be a 3-team deal with the Knicks, Toronto, and then the Lakers. But that ends up falling through at the last minute because the Knicks end up getting greedy and it just becomes a mess. And then he ultimately ends up going to Portland, plays, you know, however many games he played in Portland. I think it was like 20 games in Portland. And then now he is a Laker. And here's the thing. Yes, it is not just solely on the organizations, right? It is on Cam Reddish as well, his performance. Now, there's been issues with character, right? That's been a big question mark. Work ethic. He's had a couple injury issues and concerns and questions. But again, I always default back to, you know, you're more inclined to work harder and play better in a place where you're wanted. You know, if you're at a job where nobody wants you there and the boss just hates you, and I was like, you get to that point where it's like, why am I even here? Right? Like, why would I want to bust my behind for this guy? Right? Why would I want to hurry up and run through injury and, you know, play through injury and all this stuff just to appease this guy who's not even going to play me, who doesn't even want me, who doesn't even like me? You know, cue the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Why don't he want me, man? But regardless, I think Cam Reddish is in a place now with the Lakers that the Lakers have shown repeatedly that they want Cam Reddish and that Cam Reddish is desirable. And I think that that is going to go a long way for Cam Reddish. And I believe that he will be a bigger factor. He was actually very good for Portland on both sides of the basketball. This is a guy that, even with all of his just issues and question marks and stuff, is still basically averaging 10 points, 10, 11 points per game. So he's still a guy that can go get you double-digit scoring and provide quality defense and versatility. So I do think Cam Reddish is absolutely going to have an impact, right? He's the biggest question mark of the three we're going to talk about, just because, one, how much is he going to play? And two, I think the Lakers brought him in as a development guy. And I'm pretty sure that they've made that clear to him. Like, look, dude, we want you here. We like you here. You're 23. You're still very young. You got a lot of basketball ahead of you. We want you to be a long-term Laker. So let's develop you. Let's get you right. Let's get you working with Phil Handy and all these other guys. And let's put you in a position to have some success. And I do think Cam Reddish is going to have an impact when he's in the game. But even I think his impact comes more down the road in like a year or two, right? But I do think he is a guy that could provide some quality flashes. I'm really pumped about Cam Reddish, and I definitely think he's a guy that could have kind of a standout year, right? I'm not saying he's going to be a 25-5 guy or something like that, but I do think he could be a double-digit guy on better efficiency, right? Because that's kind of been his thing. It's efficiency, right? But I mean, from the 2-point percentage, he's 57%. So he's better at getting to the basket, playing closer to the basket, that mid-range elbow shot. But if he can just improve his 3-point shooting even slightly, which he's had years. He had a year with Atlanta where he shot 38% on 4.5 attempts. So he has the ability. I think that he, in a position now with the Lakers, will definitely just play harder, be more willing, things like that. And if he's not, then that might not bode well for him. But Jaxson Hayes. So based on the reports, Jaxson Hayes might actually start alongside Anthony Davis. The Lakers are interested in kind of giving that a look early on in the season. Anthony Davis very likely will close the game at center, but Anthony Davis has expressed that he wants to play power forward more. The Lakers have made it a point to make it known publicly that, like, hey, we got a guy like Jaxson Hayes, and we're looking for another center so Anthony Davis can do that. So with that, Jaxson Hayes could very well see a lot of time on the basketball court. Now, he is a bit raw, right? He's 23 years old. He's still very young. He does have, question marks about just his performance on the basketball court. Again, raw. But he's a guy that is a very good defensive player. He is one of the better big men in the pick and roll setting, which is massive. Because now you got him and Anthony Davis both not only protecting the rim, but both are very good pick and roll defensive bigs. So that is something that I think will really stand out for the Lakers this year, and primarily on his defensive end. Rebounding and scoring the basketball is going to be something that I'm curious to see. Right now, I think most likely Jaxson Hayes will be more of a lob threat. I think they will put him in position and in kind of that dunker spot at times. Anthony Davis, kind of like how they ran with JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, right? They were basically just cleanup duty, glass duty, lob threats, things along those lines. That's where I see Jaxson Hayes. But Jaxson Hayes is also very good. He's a player that you can actually dump the ball down to, and he's really good at that little floater and that 8 to 10 foot range. He shoots in the 65 percentile on that shot. So he's a guy that if you can set him up, have him get some good positioning, and then just kind of dump the ball down to him and let him kind of use his size and athleticism and wingspan to kind of put it through the hoop. That I think is valuable in and of itself as well. So Jaxson Hayes ideally is a key piece that you want for the long term, right? He has the potential to maybe one day be your starting center, or at worst be your first big off the bench. He's still, like I said, 23 years old. I mean, he's young enough to have been drafted in this year's draft, right? So he's a guy that I really think, same thing, right environment, right situation, opportunity, he can be a real impact player and a real factor. He kind of fell a bit out of favoritism in New Orleans. Not last year, but the previous year, 2021, 2022, he was averaging about 20 minutes per game. In that time, he had, of course, his best year with 9 points, 5 rebounds. He had just under an assist, just under a steal, and just under a block, and 20 minutes of play. This year, though, however, he only played in 47 games as opposed to 70. He only started in 2 games, and he only got 13 minutes per game, right? And he only got 3 shot attempts per game, but he still provided roughly the same thing. He gave you 5 points and 3 rebounds, and then 1-1-1-1-1, right? Or just under 1-1-1-1-1. So this is a guy that, again, I think it boils down to opportunity, environment, putting him in a position to have success. I think if you find the right spots for him and find the right positions for him and put him in the right spots, I think he could be very valuable. It boils down to Anthony Davis's shooting ability is what I think will dictate how much does Jaxson Hayes play, right? Because if Anthony Davis can kind of return to that shooting form from 2020, where he was basically a knockdown shooter from 15 feet out, then Jaxson Hayes, you could play quite a bit, right? You could see Jaxson Hayes getting maybe 25 minutes a game just because Anthony Davis could shoot, right? But if Anthony Davis is shooting like he has the last few years, I don't think you're going to be able to play Jaxson Hayes that much because you're going to need Anthony Davis at the center spot for him to just be able to generate buckets. So I think it's going to come down to basically Anthony Davis's performance that'll dictate the level of success Jaxson Hayes has. But defensively, I think that he's great. He's got good size, good athleticism. He's a true 7-footer and really can provide just some quality rotation minutes at that center spot. He's a guy that, when Anthony Davis inevitably takes a night off, he's a guy that you could plug in and start, and I think he would give you some very quality minutes and be able to hold his own. Now, obviously, the Lakers still need another center, but for now, Jaxson Hayes, I think, really kind of fills that void, unlike what we didn't have last year. So this was a huge pickup, in my opinion. Lastly, Taurean Prince. He's a guy that the Lakers have needed for a long time, right? A legit 3-and-D, multiple position type player. He's still under 30. He's 6'6", 6'7", 216 pounds. He's got good size. He's a guy that can guard the best player on the other team. But more than anything, he's a legit 3-and-D shooter. This is a guy that shoots 37% from 3 for his career, and the last 3 years has shot 38% or better. So this is a guy that can really have an impact, and you can run him in multiple positions and just lineups, right? He brings that veteran presence with him, right? Because he's a little bit older. He's not some 23-year-old kid. So he's going to be a little more mature. He's going to be more reliable in bigger moments. He was great for the Timberwolves, which was a real surprise to everybody that Minnesota just basically let him go. And the Lakers essentially swapped him with Troy Brown Jr. And look, I was a big defender of Troy Brown Jr. I actually really like Troy Brown Jr. I was hoping we could keep him for the long haul. Taurean Prince is the better player right now, by far. And Taurean Prince is also going to be more consistent in that role. And I could see Taurean Prince very likely being one of the guys that closes games, right? Just because of his ability to shoot, defend. You could have a closing lineup with final 3 minutes or whatever of Austin Reeves, Taurean Prince, maybe Vando, LeBron, and AD, or go D'Lo, Reeves, Prince, LeBron, and AD, right? So he's a guy that I think may end up being one of the guys that it's hard to take off the court at times. And look, for Minnesota last year, he played 22 minutes per game. He was great on the defensive end. He shot basically 47% from the field total. He was 38.1% from 3, 55.7% from the field, EFG of 56.5. That's really good, right? He was also a very good free throw shooter at 85% or just under 85%. This is, again, a double-digit guy that can come in, knock down the 3 ball, play his role. He's going to understand his role. He knows what his role is because it's basically been the same thing everywhere. He has some familiarity with several of the players on this roster. All of those things are very good when it comes to just building chemistry with him and him providing. he may end up having the biggest impact of the Cam Reddish, Jaxson Hayes, Taurean Prince trio that the Lakers got. Because, again, he's the veteran guy. He's a guy that's not afraid of the moment, that can hit big shots. I mean, he was hitting big shots on the Lakers, and especially in that play-in game and stuff. So he's a guy that you can trust. You can put out there. He's not going to mess up. He's going to defend, and he's going to play hard. He's going to do the dirty work. He's going to knock down shots. He's a guy that, the defenses have to watch out for and keep an eye on. They can't afford to leave him wide open. So I think Taurean Prince plays quite a bit of basketball for the Lakers this year. I think he's maybe one of the guys that the Lakers lean on a lot more heavy. I don't think anybody plays, more than like 30 minutes a game. I don't. Because I think that the Lakers are going to want to have a nice balance, right? So I think everyone's around 25 to 30 minutes. Got a couple guys at like 15, something like that, right? I think that that's probably the approach. But I could see some guys on given nights getting like DMPs and stuff like that because the Lakers are so deep. I don't think that'll happen with Prince. Unless he has like just a, little knick-knack injury and the Lakers just want to be cautious or something. Taurean Prince, I think, is the guy that will have the biggest impact of the new acquisitions for the Lakers. He's out of all the guys we lost, and Malik Beasley, Troy Brown, Mo Bamba, like all of the guys that we ended up losing, Taurean Prince is better than all of them, right? Because not only can he shoot the ball and shoot it efficiently, but he also can defend and do other things, which is important, right? So I think Taurean Prince plays the 2 a lot. I do. I really do. I think Taurean Prince ends up playing the 2 guard, but we'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, that's the list. Just wanted to talk about these guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Who are you most excited to see of sort of the new acquisitions of these 3? Which one do you think has the biggest impact? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.